welcome back to series number 2 here in the TSL round of 32, day 2. We're here in game number 1. We've got Fraer as the Protoss in the bottom left. His opponent, the Terran ladder champion in the top left, Empire.Kas.
And you know, an interesting stat to note from the statistics between both of these guys is that Fraer isn't, versus Terran isn't actually his best matchup here. So we'll have to see if that plays a factor in this series. On the other hand, Kas is actually pretty good against Protoss. He actually plays a very solid style of play, an economy-focused style, always working on multitasking and having the perfect engagements. And I think Kas is going to come into this with almost zero cheeses, even in a best of 3. Zero aggressive tactics, all macro focused play.
Yeah, that's true. He's always focused on the late game. Incredible macro out of this guy. As you mentioned in the early game, you like that it started on Ohana. A lot of people mentioning that Ohana is a dynamic map, favors a lot of styles, as we were talking in the pregame show, and I like that in map number 1 because that means if we do get lucky enough to get to game 5 and it resets, that's gonna, weigh on the minds of playing on a map where a lot of styles work and you've already seen one of those styles. Maybe you have to switch it up in game number 5. And again, these players knowing each other, maybe that's already weighing on their minds in game number 1.
Exactly, that's a great point. In the finals of the WCS last night, I casted, and when there was 2 best of 3 games to be played, we went back to basically the same map pool again. And to see them change styles and bring something new to the table versus the same player in the same series was actually a great dynamic to have in the game.
Some players even, they won't use their it's a gambit, but you won't use your best strategy in a repeat map the first time, just in case it goes to game 5.
Indeed, so we'll have to see if that will happen here. So far, we've got very standard openings by both guys. Kas, of course, going 1 barracks command center, almost likely will go 1 barracks command center. Very, very surprised if he adds on additional barracks after the initial marine comes out. His opponent is just gone for a very normal gas timing. One thing to note is he's actually grabbed a second gas before Zealot, and he's still in gas with 3 on the initial one. So depending on how many he puts in the second assimilator here, he will be starting to bank quite a lot of gas, which could tend or lend to us to believe is that it's going to be like a sentry kind of attack because he's actually going to have a lot of gas, or that he's going to take out relatively fast after grabbing that natural nexus.
Absolutely, but the benefit, oh my god, Kas sending the SCV, going to go and scout the natural, goes into the main base, but actually doesn't complete going into the main base, so he has no idea this is coming, and this is why he wants to drop that engineering bay to block the natural, but it's really going to be a shame if he doesn't finish this and go into the main base and see that double assimilator.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of guessing when the SCV gets picked off there. He grabs 500 hit points on the engineering bay, and if you think about, and you look at the setup of Fraer, he's actually not even intending to build a Nexus in the next few seconds here. So the engineering bay is a lack of money. That's actually delayed the second barracks coming down. That actually hurt Kas more than it helped him.
And look at this, he's bringing a probe out to deal with this engineering base. So let's see if that's a gambit, trying to trick Kas into looking like he wants an expansion. Look at this, 2 more gateways, and there's the 4th.
Wow, look at that. You called that. You nailed that, actually. And that just perfectly gives Kas false information. Kas now thinks that that's most likely going to be that expansion coming down. There is double gas with this, so he actually can be very Stalker heavy. And with the Twilight Council coming down as well, absolutely going to be Stalker heavy. We'll be going for that blink play. And Kas, if he sits on 1 bunker and cuts corners or doesn't scout, he could very easily die to this attack.
Yeah, and look how aggressive Fraer is being with that Stalker. He doesn't want any scouting to go out, and there's been no SCV that's kind of slipped out through the front lines. There's none that he can slip into that natural and take a look at the expansion. So Kas is playing blind here.
And I'm going to bet you that Kas will never, ever, ever scan. Terran players do not scan. They basically say, all right, I'm going at 10 minutes with my Medivacs. It doesn't matter what you do before. So this is a great reaction here from Fraer to do this, and this could pull him a victory. There's only 1 bunker, so the natural is going to be weak. In the main base, though, this is going to be pivotal because that tech lab that we're seeing researching, or will be researching, Stim in a few moments' time, that absolutely is going to be a target for these Blink Stalkers, because without Stim, the Marines and the handful of Marauders, maybe, if Kas even decides to build them, which is kind of not normal either, to build like more than a couple early on. So this actually could be massive.
And Fraer being very aggressive with this Stalker, trying to drive back these Marines. the Marines gain control of the northmost Zelnaga watchtower, but are now getting pushed back. Fraer going to snipe that Marine and continue to run away, taking some hull damage. But look at what the follow-up is. He's actually going for a robotics, gotten the observer out, going to be able to blink into the main. He's already got his stalkers waiting at the lower ground just outside of that main base. And Kas, how can he know this is coming?
He can't. He absolutely doesn't know. And if, oh, look at the Marines. They leave just in the nick of time here. And all the Marines have been spotted now. The observer's been spotted. The pylon should be spotted by that supply depot, which it is spotted. Kas knows what he's playing against. A turret has come down to deal with the observer on the natural. But is Kas going to be able to hold on to this?
I don't know. He's now, Fraer is circling around to the back. He's got that pylon. Gonna blink up in the main base, but Kas is already... Oh my god, wow.
That's the observer's massive because now the attack can only come from the natural, and that's why all the SCVs have been built. What a great pick-off!
Oh my god, and now trying to drive forward and break the bunker. Even if he breaks this, there may be enough units, and no, he's not even going to be able to break it. Driving forward, look at the amount of SCVs that are pulled off. It's repelled.
Oh, that was so big. That turret placement wasn't really waiting for the observer to come across it. It was giving the Marines vision to see the observer, and the observer was in too deep, and Kas has dealt with it. Another observer is being chrono boosted out now from the robotics facility, but that's way too late. Stim is going to be done. There's 3-4 marauders, 2 more on the way, plus 1 attack as well. That observer dying cost Fraer the game. That's it. There's no way.
From what looked like a sneaky win, that... you know, into what can Fraer do? He's resigned himself to continue to attacking, trying to push back from the lower ground, which is working, but, you know, it's 2 base against 1 base. Fraer doesn't have enough time to take an expansion. He's absolutely got to continue attacking.
Yeah, and he has to wear his opponent down. Remember, there's no factory, there's no starport here, so the more Kas stims, if he can bait a big stim, then Kas will not have the hit points regaining back on those units. So that's the only way Fraer can come back into this game. But with +1 attack finishing as well, things become very, very difficult for the Ukrainian here.
The pylon shut down, so Fraer charging up, trying to take down this bunker, yet again sniping the units. Now the bunker is isolated. He should be able to snipe it after taking all the marauders down. Moving forward and driven away yet again. And look at the stalker count just getting smaller and smaller.
And there is a natural nexus coming down, or a nexus on the natural, should I say. So Fraer is trying to back up from this. But there's 5 barracks down and the factory's coming too. And I would not be surprised if Kas waited for the medivac. So an aggressive blink, loses 1, 2, 3 stalkers, gets out with a couple. And a big stim, though, from Kas. Right. That's what Fraer wanted there. He traded it for the stalkers because there's no factory, there's no medivac. So, once again, Kas can't move out until the medivacs are ready. And that's a decent opportunity. And Fraer blinks in the main. He's going to stop the factory again.
Wow, aggressive going forward. And looks like Kas has just had enough. He's continuing to attack. Not coming back to defend this. I find that surprising considering how much of an advantage here he has. But it looks like he wants to cancel the Nexus. Stalkers continuing to bring down SCVs in the main base. Look at this.
Yeah, and Kas is just going to say, well, I've got enough money in the bank. Hopefully the units that pop out along with SCVs can clear up this while I go and kill absolutely everything. A massive stim by Kas on the natural. A little bit too early to stim, and he wants to get the round. Great force fields here by Fraer. And what is actually happening in this game?
And looks like he's warping in another sentry, so he'll be able to force field that back yet again. Let's see his timing. Yes, it's good. Zealots in the main base continuing to crush absolutely everything. He's got control of the production facilities. That means the reinforcements from Kas going to be killed as soon as they come out.
Oh, Kas thrown this away. He needs to get back with these units, but look how low in health they are. There's only 5 yellow marauders, and Kas with the decision making. This is really, really bad here. And all of a sudden, from what it seems like an easy win for Fraer to an automatic loss, seems like Kas could be losing the game. But look at that, the cleanup with the SCVs as well is going to sort that out.
No more force fields for Fraer in the main base. As he realized he had no more energy on his sentries, he pulled all his probes and tried to drill through and use Zealots to break that. Unfortunately, it did not work, so Kas is going to be able to clean up his main and punish Fraer in his main base.
Yeah, and this game's just been a wacky one here, and it looks like all the probes will go down, and Kas will be able to pick up this victory. Did not make it easy for himself, which it should have been a lot easier than this.
And you know, you never really want to fault someone if they did something and it works, but I think Kas, as you mentioned, took the most difficult path to victory here.
Indeed, so right now, Fraer knows it. GG called an aggressive play to open up map number